It was 14 years ago when I abruptly decided to simplify my life. I was in college at the time, and I, one night, honestly, pared down all of my belongings to the bare essentials. I just wanted to reduce as much complexity and chaos in my life as I possibly could. This was long before I knew what minimalism was, and it was such a freeing experience. And although my lifestyle has evolved a lot over the years, there are still a number of core simple living principles that I still live by to this day and have carried with me over the years. Simplifying your life means focusing on what matters most to you and minimizing the extraneous stuff that takes up real estate in our head and in our homes. It's about finding ways to make it easier when it comes to doing the things that we need to do, and also finding ways to make space for doing more of the things that we want to do. I want to thank Blueland for sponsoring today's video. We'll chat more about them in a moment, but first, let's dive into some of the essentials for simplifying your whole life. When we aren't totally clear on what matters most to us, it can make it a little harder for us to make the best decisions for ourselves. We kind of flounder around a little bit, being swayed in different directions to do or be or buy different kinds of things that we often don't really need. In terms of belongings, you don't get a trophy for owning the fewest items possible. It's really just about being aware of what lights us up the most, what our values are, what our priorities are, and doing more and having more of that. So reflect on this. What are some things or some areas in your life that matter the most to you, and what can you do to nurture those things more? Evaluating your living spaces to ensure that they're achieving what you want them to means kind of asking yourself if different areas of your home are functional for you, for the way that you live. Are they kind of designed the way that you want? And I don't mean in terms of being like magazine worthy. I just mean designed as in, do they feel the way that you want them to for the most part? Having a more functional space means having easy access to items that you use regularly by storing things where they are used the most. This also means having a proper place for items so that they can actually go back into their respective homes and keep your place a little bit more clearer and, again, more functional. This also means maybe placing furniture in a way that makes the most sense. And this also means minimizing clutter. Decluttering is definitely a favorite thing amongst us simple living folk. Having things around you that you need, that you actually use, and that you really love, and kind of ditching the rest is so satisfying. But it's also beneficial for our mental health as well. When we look around us and there's things that need to be organized or put away, it just adds to our mental load. It's just another thing to do on top of the millions of other things that we do day to day. When we clear it out, it kind of eases things up for us mentally too, by donating or selling or throwing things out that are no longer working. Start small, and if there are certain things that you do want to hold on to that have sentimental meaning to you, you can even put things in a box if you want, of like memories, things like that. Devices are a really big part of most of our lives, and we need to make them work for us, not against us. Something that I personally do is I keep notifications turned off on my phone. Usually my phone is on silent for the most part, but also things like banner notifications. Aside from text messages, I don't have any app on my phone that like gives me any kind of like pop-up or dinging sound. Maybe Uber. You can just go to the settings on your phone and you can select which apps you want to give you these push notifications, or if you want the sound on or off. I find for myself, this is just, I much rather check things manually rather than having my phone dinging at me all the time. Let me know. Do you have notifications on, sounds on, or do you have yours totally off? Something else is conscious media consumption, which involves being mindful of the media that we consume, maybe being more mindful of the accounts that we follow on social media, being more mindful of the types of things that we watch on TV, taking breaks from the digital space when we know that we need to. I find this is just so essential at clearing our mind, decluttering our head, right? Because when we are always plugged in, we're just being bombarded by so much information. And lastly, if you have the bravery or the time to do a little digital decluttering here, whether that's going through photos on your phone or documents on your computer or maybe your email inbox, by all means, maybe do a little organizing there too, because these things are also such a big source of our stress sometimes. We do a house tidy up each evening, especially the kitchen at night, so that we wake up to a clean space in the morning. It is so important for me, for my husband. We really value being able to come downstairs in the morning and the house is tidy, ready to go, ready to use. It's a clean slate. It really helps you to start your day on a less chaotic note. After dinner, we wipe counters, we put leftovers into containers if needed, we'll wash the dishes, I'll load the dishwasher. I've been using Blue Land's dishwasher tablets for the last little while. A big thank you to them for sponsoring today's video. They make eco-friendly, lower waste household cleaning products that use no single-use plastic whatsoever in any component of their products, from bottles and tablets to wrappers and shipping. Their packaging is compostable or it's recyclable. And their products are also free of things like bleach, parabens, phthalates, to name a few. I got their hand soap and their dishwasher tablets. And the hand soap is so cool. You just fill up the reusable glass jar with water and plop in a little tablet. You let it dissolve. And then you twist on the lid and you're good to go. You don't need to shake it, you don't need to stir it. The dishwasher tablets come in a compostable bag and you can store them in this little refillable, reusable tin. You just pop one into your dishwasher and there you go. There's no plastic wrapper to remove or anything. I was quite impressed. They work just as well, if not better, than the other dishwasher tabs that I was using. And if you want 15% off of your first order, you can click my link in the description box below. Take note of the pieces in your wardrobe that you gravitate towards the most, that you wear the most often, that you feel the best in, and the reasons why, so that you can pare down on the things that you don't need in your closet, the items that you really don't make the most use of. And also it makes shopping a lot easier when you do need new pieces. You know the types of things that you like, what you wear the most and why, versus just kind of randomly picking things that you might not end up really using or that don't pair well with other things. It's like a personal daily uniform, so to speak, which is kind of a template that you can use that involves just the items that you use the most. It's kind of like your own little style, pieces that you can quickly turn to each day. It makes getting dressed a lot easier, can save you time. For me, oh gosh, for the last while now has been cropped wide leg pants, high-waisted. I now own maybe 3 or 4 pairs that I just interchange through the week. Also just classic black leggings. These are just my favorite. I can pair them with different sweaters or tops, and I just find it just so much easier to get dressed in the morning, and they're also super comfortable, which I like because I'm home all the time. It goes without saying that we can't just drop everything, every responsibility that we have and just do whatever, but that doesn't mean that we can't say no to things sometimes or prioritize our needs more. Our days and our weekends can fill up so fast, and simplifying our time, simplifying our schedule within reason can make a huge difference in how we feel and how we live our life. My husband and I often remark on how the best weekends are the ones when we don't have any plans, where we don't have anywhere to be, we don't have to drive anywhere, we don't have to do anything. Of course, there are definitely like events or get-togethers that we do look forward to sometimes, but we just, having more space in your schedule just feels really good. So just reflect a little bit on, what you tend to spend your time doing or how often your schedule gets filled up, and maybe how that's making you feel and what you would like to be doing more often with your time. And another thing here too is it's so important to have moments in the day to properly recharge, And what I mean by this is that so often when we have breaks in the day, maybe this is a break at work or other times in the day when we have a little bit of time to ourselves, it's so easy for us to turn to our phones or the computer or the TV to start scrolling or whatever. We just start doing that to kind of automatically entertain ourselves. And what happens is our brains don't have a chance to like rest because we're just still in that stimulation mode. I mean, a little escapism is, we all do it, we all need it. No shame there whatsoever. What I like to do is I try not to turn to my phone immediately when I have a bit of time to myself. Instead, turning to things like having a cup of tea, just sitting with a little bit of silence, or just doing something else that helps me to feel like I can recharge a little bit. Meal planning is such a time saver, and it's one of my favorite things that we do as a family each week. It's just a matter of writing out the meals you want to cook for the week. Usually I just do dinners primarily, but I do sometimes jot down a few ideas for other meals. But what this does is it gives you a plan so that you know exactly the ingredients that you need, and you have those stocked up for the week and they're ready to go, and you don't have to scramble at 6 p.m. to figure out what you want to do for dinner. You already know. Financial check-ins are another great way to simplify, and this is where you can sit down on a routine basis and just look at your income, look at your expenses. My husband and I set a goal recently to try to do this once per month. We're not perfect at this, I will admit. It's really helpful to be able to have that good overview of what's going on, what's coming in, what's going out, maybe set a budget if needed, move money around if needed, whatever you need to do so that you are able to stay on track and be aware of things financially. This is also when I will update my books for the previous month, which bookkeeping is so far from being something that I am good at staying on top of. Really helps me to just like stay on track so that I'm not scrambling at tax season. Also, my least favorite time of year. So there you go. My mind is easily in 100 places at once if I let it. I used to include very overwhelmed as like a defining personality trait for myself. And with making some conscious changes in my life, I am so much better able to focus on what's really most important and kind of let go of the rest. I used to have such a strong do-it-all mindset, which is honestly really counterproductive because we can't do it all. And when we try to do it all, we just fall short and we beat ourselves up for it. I really used to have that mindset that like, okay, I gotta keep up, I gotta do everything that I'm used to doing, especially once I became a mom. That obviously completely changed, and I had to really rejig my priorities. And once I started to let go of that do-it-all mindset, oh my gosh, the stress that was lifted from me, it definitely simplified my life a lot, my schedule a lot. It decluttered my brain a lot because I wasn't holding on so tightly to that need to do every single thing. You really do have to reach a point where you look at your priorities and you focus on the things that matter the most. The thing about minimalism that I think often gets overlooked is how it's not only about having less physical belongings, but finding joy and fulfillment and satisfaction in everyday simple experiences. I'm not saying we should like never go to HomeSense and check out their selection of rugs. It's just about knowing when enough is enough when it comes to that constant need, that cycle that we just can't get ourselves off of and we're never satisfied. That's when we know we need to slow down and look at what are the other areas of life that are lacking for us and we're not spending enough time nurturing. So that is it for today's video. Oh my gosh. Let me know in the comments below which one of these things you resonated with the most, which are some ways that you simplify your life, what are things that really help you. I would love to hear from you, and don't forget to check out Blueland as well. I will leave a link for you to check out in the description box below, and I will see you all in the next one.